I'll do this clip about Karl Marx because in this day and age I think this still has to be discussed. People think of Karl Marx as some sort of socialist revolutionary, as purely political. To some extent it is, but there is an essence behind what Karl Marx had to say. So I'll go through some of the words he had written, usually in his poetry rather than as political theory that's applied. So I'll just go through this. Okay, in one of his poems he writes, "I wish to avenge myself against the one who rules above." So I'm quoting from a book by Richard Wurmbrand, which is called Was Karl Marx a Satanist? And from what I've read of it, I do believe he has a very convincing argument, and I do believe Karl Marx was a Satanist. I have been a Satanist myself, and the issue of Marxism was brought up amongst the few people I associated with during those days, and it wasn't used as something we would adhere to, but what we would inflict on others, to rule the herd, so to speak. You know, it had no appeal to us. It was, I know, a self-help ideology for losers, quite frankly. It is something that if you weren't in on the joke, you were the butt of it. So I'll continue on from Karl Marx's poem called Invocation of One in Despair. And so a God has snatched away from me my all, in the curse and rack of destiny. All his worlds are beyond recall, nothing but revenge is left to me. I shall build my throne high overhead, cold, tremendous shall its summit be, for its bulwark, superstitious dread, for its marshal, blackest agony. So, that doesn't really sound liberating and loving, does it? Should remember that at this time, Karl Marx wasn't pushing a new political grouping or ideology. What was seen is the foreground of an ideology. And I'll continue on. If we look at another poem he wrote called The Player, and you'll start to see that this is just personal writings which have been ignored by and large by the left, by its adherents. And well, I'll read it out. The hellish vapours rise and fill the brain, till I go mad and my heart is utterly changed. See this sword, the Prince of Darkness sold it to me. For me beats the time and gives the signs. Ever boldly I play the dance of death. Now, I'll quote from Marx's drama, Ulanem. And maybe this will help you see that there is a continuing pattern. And they are also Ulanem. Ulanem, the name rings forth like death, rings forth, until it dies away in a wretched crawl. Stop, I've got it now, it rises from my soul. Yet I have power within my youthful arms to clench and crush you with tempestuous force. while for us both, the abyss yawns in darkness. You will sink down, and I shall follow laughing, whispering in your ears, descend, come with me, my friend. Well, when you consider that Karl Marx was Jewish and brought up as a Jew, you'll start noticing that within his personal writings, he makes a lot of references to worlds, and the abyss. This is somewhat important because in Kabbalah we perceive 4 worlds, and the abyss, which we call Das, is, some people say it's a sephira on the tree of life, other people say it's not, it's more like a firewall type thing. It's also mentioned in Revelation that the beast shall come from the abyss. And I'll continue on. I think Richard Wurmbrand was correct in saying that Marx is only Satan's mouthpiece. So. Now if we go back to the poem, Invocation of One in Despair, he says, I wish to avenge myself against the one who rules above. And if we listen to the end of Ulanim, if there is a something which devours, I will leap within it, though I bring the world to ruins, the world which bulks between me and the abyss, I will smash to pieces with my enduring curses. So, well, maybe it's just my personal perspective, but if you have knowledge of the Kabbalah, you can kind of say, well, if anyone else was saying it, and I had no knowledge of Kabbalah or Judaism or anything like that, I would be thinking, well, maybe it's just some guy going off. But bear in mind that Karl Marx was Jewish, he had knowledge of all this. So, and he was in a position to know about these things because he came from a pretty well-off family. And continuing on with some lines from his poems. Here's one called On Hegel. Words I teach all mixed up into a devilish muddle, thus anyone may think what he chooses to think. And then another poem called The Pale Maiden. He writes, Thus heaven I forfeited, I know it full well, my soul, once true to God, is chosen to hell. And we also, I'll tell you what, I'll mention someone who's very important in what was called Marxism, or the formation of Marxism as a political aspect. His name was Moses Hess. He's the one who took Marx's personal writings and made them into an ideology, which we see now today and have seen in the past. And we see in the past, it's just butchered millions and millions and millions and millions of people. Here's something that Moses had said about Karl Marx. Dr. Marx, my idol, who will give the last kick to medieval politics and religion. And I'll continue on to what Marx wrote down in the poem Human Pride. This is what he wrote. With disdain, I will throw my gauntlet full into the face of the world, and so the collapse of this pygmy giant, whose fall will not stifle my ardour. Then will I wander godlike and victorious through the ruins of the world, and, giving my words an active force, I will feel equal to the Creator. You just can't say that it's just some guy reciting poetry by itself without significance. Because when you look at Karl Marx's personal writings, which were politicized through his interaction with Moses Hess, you'll see that Marx had an opinion on everything and anything. A Google search, well, you can't take it as 100% because anyone can put anything on the internet. But Karl Marx wrote about alienation, love, raising children, all manners of stuff, which are being adhered to this day, whether officially or simply relabeled as something else. So I would have to say, until I can see evidence otherwise, that Karl Marx was a Satanist, and he was probably one of its best prophets. Though I am suspicious about Moses Hess, I would suggest you check the